guys, and welcome to episode 3 of Ask Yoshi. Oh, look at there being no graphical effects around me. Not that they would be around me because I haven't edited them in yet, but there aren't going to be there in this episode anyway. If you watched episode 2, I got a lot of comments despite putting an annotation there saying, Yoshi, why is everything flashing like crazy this episode? And that was because for some reason, and they were actually in episode 1, but they just weren't as frequent. For some reason, when I edit Ask Yoshi in the way that I do, Vegas hates me and decides, hey, whenever we put like a transition or whatever in, then it's going to flash up white. So whenever you saw a white flash, there was something meant to happen in a Vegas edit. And it happened, but it just had a white flash instead of a transition or a smooth change or anything. So that sucks. So for this week, I figured, you know what, let's not delay the series until I get this figured out because there are a lot of questions to get through. So for this week, I'll just kind of go a bit more raw, I guess. I'm sure I'll have the questions flash up on screen somehow. And if they don't, then that means it's one of those issues, it's one of those sources having the issue with Vegas. Because episode 4 I want to be normal. But I'm trying to figure out what is causing that in Vegas, whether it's XSplit recording, which is what I record with my Facecam. You know, the transitions I'm using, the type of files I'm using. I don't know. I'm still working on it. Anyway, let's not talk about that. I just wanted to get that cleared, just so you guys know. Well, just so you guys knew what was going on with episode 2, and what is going on now that it looks a bit different from the other 2 episodes in the series. That design will be staying. This is just a temporary thing. Anyway, I've got 6 more questions asked by you lovely people, a mixture from the YouTube comments of episode 2, and, of course, I was going to say fan art at YoshiTomorrow.com. Ask Yoshi at YoshiTomorrow.com, that beautiful little email address. You can send questions in, and I do check all of them, and I pick some of my favourite from both of those sources. And again, before we do get started, if you guys are new to this series, and you want to ask me something and get it featured on this show, the best way to do it is either email me at askyoshi at YoshiTomorrow.com, or post a YouTube comment right down below. And if you do email me, guys, if you want to have your name read out, please put your YouTube name or say that I can say your real name. If you don't, or if you do say you want to be anonymous, I will keep that anonymous just for safety's sake. You can never be too safe with that kind of thing. Anyway, let's jump into the first question. This is by The New Investigator. He's new at investigating. How were you introduced to Minecraft? Now, I think I've told this story. Yeah, let's get settled for story time here. I have got my iced tea. I'm all set to go. In fact, I'm going to take a sip. Damn, that's good. I think I've told this story like once in one video because I just kind of... I have that feeling like I've spoken about it before, but I think I've spoken about it on streams, actually. So if you've ever missed that, here you go. There's the answer. Back in the day, before the days of Twitch TV, and before live streaming was actually really, really big, I think it became really big because of the program that I am using to record this video right now, XSplit. It is amazing. But back in the day, we only had Ustream, which was massive at the time, Blog TV, which wasn't the gaming community, but it was still around, and most of all, well, actually, I guess livestream.com, and most of all, Justin TV. Justin and Ustream, in my mind, or at least in the community that I was in, well, I'm still in, my hair is really fucked up, and are still in at the time, were the 2 kind of big competitors to go against each other. So, you know, I was always on Justin TV, I was watching around, and for those of you who don't know, Justin TV's gaming section got so big that it became a separate website, which is now Twitch TV. Ooh! Little bit of history for you. Don't know what that was. So, I was always on the Justin TV community. I was watching a lot of games. I think games that I used to play a lot back then. If you don't know me, I actually used to be an avid skateboarder. I used to skateboard all the time when I was a lot younger, actually. I think I started when I was like 6 years old up until maybe I was about 12, 13. I always, you know, I kind of want to start up again. If I ever get the free time, I will start up and do some skateboarding. That would be fun. But, of course, around that time, you know, some of the Xbox skate games were coming out. And I love those games. Those are absolutely brilliant. I just love that you can, like, free roam in it and all that kind of stuff. And it's actually realistic. It's not like Tony Hawk where you just mash buttons and hope for the best. So I was playing a lot of those games. And I thought, you know what? This was just after I think I started posting YouTube videos. I thought, you know what? I would love to live stream this, because I'd heard about live streaming games, and I thought it was a pretty cool thing. Again, not many people were doing it back then, but you know, I heard about this, I gave it a go. And I think, yeah, back then we had to, because XSplit didn't exist, as I was going back to that, we had to use a program called Flash Media Encoder. And I guess people still use it today, I don't know why you would. But Flash Media Encoder. It's from Adobe, the guys who make Photoshop and After Effects and all that good stuff. And it does the job, and you can stream in just as nice quality as you could with XSplit, but it was awful. You couldn't do transitions. It was all like hand-coded kind of stuff you got to do. And it was really, really, really tricky to use. So that's why I don't think live streaming was back as popular as it was, as it is now back then, because it just wasn't as accessible to people who didn't know as much about, you know, live streaming, encoding, editing, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you couldn't put really graphics into Flash Media Encoder. It was like one video source and one audio source. And if you wanted 2 audio sources, you had to download another one called Virtual Audio Cable, I think. I remember having VAC. You had to download Virtual Audio Cable and mix them all, and it was a mess. And you could hear yourself talk. Anyway, so, yeah, back to the actual question. How were you introduced to Minecraft? How did we get there? So, obviously, you know, I was watching a lot of streams back then as well, seeing stuff. And there was one guy called Limewax. And I actually ended up becoming good friends with him. Called Limewax. JustinTV/Limewax. His account is now closed, sadly. But there's a bit of history for you. And, you know, I was following him. And one day, I saw him streaming this game called Minecraft. And I looked at it, and, you know, you get a little preview of the stream in the thumbnail, like you do with a YouTube thumbnail. I looked at it, I thought, you know what, that looks really, really strange. And I remember back then thinking, oh, this is going to be like a story mode mining simulator. I guess it is a mining simulator just without the story mode, but Minecraft back then, when I saw the name, was nothing like what I thought it would be compared to what it is now. So, you know, I opened this up and I checked it out and I remember, like, he streamed all the time. I watched for, like, an hour or so. I was just chilling in the stream and it looked really fun. So I went and picked it up, and this is back in early alpha days. I think they may have just got into alpha, actually. And, I picked it up, and I remember when they hit, like, their 200,000 sales benchmark and their 500,000 sales benchmark and then the almighty 1 million. And yeah, I just kind of took a massive liking to it. In fact, also, side story before I get on to question 2, and question 2 is kind of short, so we have the time, don't worry. I also realised I've been rambling on about this for quite a while, so I apologise. Anyway, yeah, back when I used to play, like, early alpha, Notch was able to do this thing because he was a one-man show. There was no Mojang, there was nothing of this. And he was able to do this thing every Friday. It was either Friday or Saturday. I can't actually remember. I think it might have been Saturday, just because it rhymes with the name. But Secret Saturday, or it was Update Friday, or something like that. It was either Friday or Saturday. And what he would do is on his blog, he would he'd basically put out an update of Minecraft every single week. And there would be something new in it. Like, one of the ones was, like, boats. I think... Oh, slimes. That was hilarious. I can tell you all about that another time. But he added all these things in, and half of the updates he wouldn't tell you about. So it was up to the community to go and, like, find it out. And it was so much fun. And I loved being involved with that. And then I remember the first week he didn't do a secret... Let's just call it Secret Saturdays. He didn't do a Secret Saturdays update. And that was kind of when he got a bit bigger and, you know, he didn't have the time to do that. And I remember seeing that and thinking, oh, here we go. This game's going to blow up even more than it has already. And back then it was only just starting. So, yeah, there's my how were you introduced to Minecraft, and I guess early experiences with Minecraft as well. Anyway, on to question 2. I've stayed on that one for quite a while. This is from Shannon Parks, and as I said, this is quite a quick question for me to answer. Do you have any siblings? Don't know why I changed that accent halfway through. Do you have any siblings? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. I don't. It's interesting, isn't it? No, I don't have any brothers and I don't have any sisters. I remember when I was a little kid, I always wanted some. Always wanted some because I kind of felt deprived, honestly. Because, you know, I'd go to school when everyone else had brothers that they would play with and all this kind of stuff. And then I went home and it was just like, oh, look, it's Yoshi playing with Legos or something. My childhood is like one big blur. I don't remember it. So, yeah. That just blurted out my mouth, and that didn't mean anything. But yeah, so, like. So yeah, I always kind of wanted, and then I think when I hit maybe 12, no, a bit earlier than that actually, 11, 12 years old, I kind of realised, wait, I get all the attention from my parents, and I get more expensive presents on Christmas and my birthday. So then I just realised, oh wait, no, I don't really care. And I know that sounds really, really shallow, but it's honest. I'm being honest with you. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I would be able to do what I do now, to the extent that I do now, if I had brothers or sisters. And there's actually a question, the last question today, that will kind of answer that in a bit more, I guess. But just wait until the last question, you guys will see. Anyway, so there's the answer to that. Do I have any siblings? No. Also, the lighting might change. I'm actually using outside light for once. I've just realised it might change. I'm hoping it doesn't. It looks different on the screen already. It's fine. I've got a spotlight. Anyway, this is from question number 3. Sylvan _ Silver. Is it Silveren or is it Sylvan? I don't know. It's one of the two. What was the scariest moment in a series that you have ever had? Oh, damn. Now, you won't understand why I'm laughing. I will tell you. Basically, I just quickly read over some questions and copied them into this notepad that I saw, and I was like, you know, sounds like a good question. For some reason, my mind didn't process the in a series part of that question. So I thought I was going to be answering a question about the scariest moment in my life I've ever had. I'm going to continue to answer that question. Sorry, Sylvan _ Silver, if you get annoyed with me. I just think I've got a better answer for the scariest moment that I have ever had, not in a series, you know, in my life. I think I can respond to that a bit better. So let's do that, shall we? Sorry about that, Silver. I feel like I'm butchering your name as well. I'm sorry. So let's jump back to when I used to skateboard. I didn't mean to that, actually, to segue into skateboarding again, but I guess it did. Let's jump back to when I used to skateboard. I was probably about 8 or 9 at the time, and I was with a friend of mine called Rory. You may remember him. He was in some early videos of mine. And we used to go down to the skate park all the time in this little village that he still lives in now, and my dad used to live in, so, you know, I was there a lot of the time. And, you know, he didn't skateboard as much as me, but, you know, we chilled, and he was just a noob, and I was this expert, and I could ollie. I could do a jump on my skateboard, and he could just fall off of his. I'm not exaggerating. We thought we were amazing because he could fall off and I could ollie. I can actually kickflip, though. I'm good at that. So, you know, we went down to the skate park, and if the skate park is right here, you kind of look over and there's this fence about here. And this is quite a big distance, by the way. There's this fence about here, and just behind the fence is this massive abandoned warehouse. And there's like this open entrance to it, staring at you from the skate park. And we would always look over at this thing and just be like, ooh, what's in there? Old man Jenkins went missing or something. I don't know. It's one of those things that you hear a crazy rumor about and it won't leave your mind until you explore it. Drinking during recording. Wow, unprofessional. So, we decided one day, we went down there and we were just bored, and it was a tiny skate park. It had like 2 ramps and a grinding pole that we couldn't do yet, and a bunch of stupid kids in, so, and which we were a part of. So, we decided one day, okay, let's do this, we're going over to that warehouse. So we go over, we climb the fence, it wasn't electrocuted, it wasn't big, it was just like a tiny metal fence. And we climb this fence, and we slowly start to walk towards it. And there's like broken glass on the floor, there's graffiti everywhere, and we're starting to kind of think, no, I don't want to do this. But we did it anyway. So we go in there, you go through this big kind of open archway kind of thing. And it's just barren. There's like this massive iron kind of like, well, no, it was a big wooden door, but there were like iron bolts all over it and everything. And just standing there, and it was like piled against the wall in this weird way that I really can't describe. It was really strange. So we walk up to it, we try to move it, nothing happens. A little rat scurries out from under it, and I'm like, ugh. If you know me, I'm freaked out by bugs, I'm freaked out by small animals like that. It doesn't resonate well with me. So that firstly scared me. But then kind of to the right of the door, there was this, like, kind of doorway that fit the door, so we thought, okay, that's where it's come from. So we managed to get through that little gap, and you go into this bigger part of the room. It stinks, okay? It absolutely stinks. And there's this weird kind of hole in the floor that's, like, filled up with water, and we're staring at this thing for about 30 minutes, just trying to figure out what the hell this is. There's, like, feathers in there. We thought it was, like, a murder pit. Turns out, this was actually like an old car garage. And that was one of those pits that, you know, the guys would wrench the car up above, and then they would get under the car and do whatever they needed to under it. So they'd stand in there. So it turns out that's what that is. We tried jumping over it a few times, and at this time we thought it was like bottomless. So we were the most fearless kids in the world. We jump over this thing, and then as we're doing this, we hear these like very, very quiet voices that seem to be shouting. Like, have you ever heard a voice that's really quiet, but you can still tell it's shouting because it is so far away? We hear that, and it sounds like a bunch of dudes, and it's like really deep voices, and we're like, guess some new, older, randomly puberty-hitting kids, because they didn't go to that park. Puberty-hitting kids are going to the skate park today. So we look out from this little window that this was facing the skate park, and there's nothing there. And the voices are still getting louder. And we're thinking, okay, we're fine. So, should we leave, Rory? And we do. We run out of there. And we run out of the first door we came in. And there's still nothing there. And then we run out of this big archway that leads to the outside. And we look over to our right. And to the left is back the way we came, the skate park and all that. And this kid-child park and... A kid-child park. A kid-friendly park and all that kind of stuff. And then to the right is just, like, rubble. Like, it's the most contrasting thing I've probably ever seen. It's just rubble all the way over there. And in the very distance of our eyes, you know, we see a bunch of these, like, hefty, big dudes in, like, low jeans, typical kind of gangster stuff walking towards us. And we come from this neighborhood where there is not this thing... There's not that kind of community in the neighborhood. Like, it's unheard of. So, we're not technically scared of them because we can't think, oh, yeah, you know, it's not going to be them. But they keep getting closer, and for some reason, we don't move. They keep getting closer, and now that I think about it, it actually isn't that intimidating. But they had, like, rollerblades on and They had, like, rollerblades on. And for some reason, that was scarier than anything. Like, they were, like, these hardcore guys who rollerbladed. Oh my god! So, we're starting to walk away a little bit, and then they look at us, and they just start running towards us. And we freak out. So we jump over this fence, we get going, and then we look back, and then they're just, like, slowly walking back again, walking in the distance they were coming, just, like, laughing, and we're like, wow, okay. Yeah, screw with, like, a 9-year-old kid. You're, like, what, 20? Turns out, they were doing really, really hard, like, drug deals in there. In that exact building, and in fact, I think in that room where there was the weird little pit, and 2 years later, all of that is demolished to try and stop that, and it didn't work, and then the kid-friendly park. It's not a kids' child park. If your kid has a child, you're a bad parent. Then this kid-friendly park was, like, demolished and everything. So, yeah, that was the scariest moment. I mean, I could have had much more scary moments, I just haven't lived. I think that's the point. No, it was fun in a weird way. It was fun in a weird way. Anyway, that question went on for so long. I feel like this episode is going to be a lot longer. Just, yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I'm telling you guys about some stuff you've never heard of in my life, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Anyway, jeez, thank you, Silver and Silver, for that question that I kind of distorted awfully. Shall we move on? Let's do it. Question 4 is by Prodigy Diamond 404. Ah, you savior. You saved me from Dan. In Hunger Games. You might not get that if you weren't watching one of my streams, but he was there and it was random. And this is something that I think has affected me in the past, and I know is affecting a lot of you guys, which is why I chose it. I really want to get my opinion out on this and just kind of settle the score. What do you think is a good age or time to begin Let's Playing, or, in general, YouTube video creation? I have got a lot to try and say in a small amount of time. I could go on about this for quite a while. Now, this actually kind of does affect me. So, if you don't know, I still don't have the deepest voice of guys in the world. But I guess you guys like where it's at right now. But when I started back in 2009, and you guys feel free to go watch my first ever video uploaded. It was uploaded in like September of 2009, and I sound like a crazy little kid. Back then, I was actually like 14, 15, and at that age, you do not expect someone of that age to have that high of a voice. And I was totally aware of that. Like, I remember I was doing Sunshine at the time. That was my first ever series, Super Mario Sunshine, and it got to a point where I was still kind of growing, but it was very, very slow. And I was, back when, well, actually, no, whenever you're trying to start on something like this, you need to look at your faults, and you need to try and assess them and see how you can get better. That includes everything like commentary, video style, editing, the pace at which you're going through, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, this isn't part of the question, but it's just something random. If you guys are having trouble getting your content out there and keeping your viewer hooked, just try and critique your own work. Figure out what you might need to change. I did that a lot, just saying. It really is a really good piece of advice. But I was looking at it, and I was listening to my commentary, and even though I had that voice at the same time, I was just thinking, you know what? I remember the moment, I was in my room, I was just chilling, and it just kind of hit me, and I remember the exact realization moment. I was like, okay, so no matter how good my commentary may be, and no matter how enjoyable people may think my videos are, in the end of the day, there is going to be a big, big, big majority of people that are not going to want to listen to a little kid. Because, I hate to say it, kids, and this is not an insult to you, because I counted myself as one of you, and everyone does at some point in their life, because, you know, we all have to grow up. Sometimes, higher kids' voices are annoying. And that's not anything they can help. That's just how people, when they break out of that puberty line, I guess you could call it, perceive it. So, I was thinking about it, and I think at this time, I was about halfway through Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. Don't go there, guys. I am not finishing that series. That's done. Just wasn't enjoying it. I get so many questions. Well, you know, I don't get as many questions about that anymore, but it's something. And, I just kind of took a big, big, big break. You know, I took the summer off, I didn't do any videos, and it kind of annoyed me that I couldn't, but I was just like, okay, I'm 15 and it's summer. If my voice doesn't break by the time summer has ended, I will be annoyed, but I will still continue videos. Lo and behold, it didn't break just like, hello, I'm Yoshi DeMario and this is what my voice is like. It wasn't like that. It was like, hello, I'm Yoshi DeMario and this is what my voice is like. And then it started going like that. And that's what everyone's does. And it slowly hits it. But by the time I started making videos again after summer had come and gone, you know, it started to happen. And, you know, I didn't feel at the time that I was doing anything different in my videos. I felt like my commentary was exactly the same as it was before summer. But I had a bit of a different voice. And I did start getting, you know, a bigger community into my videos. So, here's what I'm trying to say about this question. Again, I'll repeat it. What do you think is a good age or time to begin Let's Playing? Now, I said my point because I want to prove myself wrong. Okay? I believe that even if you find yourself... Even if you find that you might be limited with how people might enjoy your videos because of the way you sound or something like that, don't let that stop you. The only reason I stopped during summer wasn't because I was fed up or anything. It was a test. I wanted to see if that really was what it wasn't. And it seems like it was, but don't let that discourage you guys. If you have a high voice and you're a guy and you're like 12 or 13, who cares? If you enjoy doing it, do it. That's something I say to people all the time on streams, on Ask Yoshi, all of that kind of stuff. This, in the end of the day, is all about doing something you enjoy. And if you enjoy it, then that is fantastic. Eventually, guys, your voice is going to break. Eventually, you're gonna reach that maturity of which you will know how to entertain people. All of that kind of stuff. Of course, this doesn't just go into voice breaking when it comes to age. It's kind of everything. But it's a very tricky topic. My nose looks lopsided. Is anyone else thinking that right now? That is the most off-topic thing I have said all day. I'm just trying to... it's the light. It's making my nose look bent. So, what I'm trying to say, guys, is a good age to start is when you feel you are ready. It may limit you. It may. And I'm not trying to be the guy with all the good news, because it may happen. That is the world. Stuff is going to limit you. But you will be able to get past it. And trust me, because a lot of people on the site who are in, like, semi-successful at Let's Playing or really successful at Let's Playing never kind of went through that, where they started their videos and they had to get past that. And it is annoying. It's a small bump in the road. But I did, and it sucks. So, power through it, keep making those videos, send them over to me, I'll check them out, and I won't judge you on how you sound. So there you go. I hope that answered your question. I mean, there's so much more you can go into about age and time and all of that kind of stuff. I guess I just chose one aspect of it, but the reason I chose that aspect, like the voice, is because firstly, I think that's what most people think of, and secondly, that's the one I can relate to the most, so I guess it's more apt for me to answer that. Anyway, question number 5. Jeez, we've got 2 more questions, and we're normally at the time when these episodes would finish. Question number 5 is by Press Koala. Now, he starts off the message by saying, he has been subbed to me since I had 5,000 subscribers. And that is true. I can verify that, because I have seen his name around, or her name around, actually, I don't know. Her name, or his name, around quite a lot. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, he or she randomly says, do you have ADHD? No, I don't. I do not have ADHD. I feel like I'm boxy. I think she had a moment in her videos where they were like, you guys think I do drugs? I don't do drugs. Maybe I do drugs. I don't know. That's my boxy impression. It was awful. No, I don't have ADHD. I'm just a very active, energetic person. But I maintain that in my videos by when I'm not recording videos, or, well, not necessarily when I'm always not recording videos, but by having like a downtime period per day. Like, I just won't talk, I won't do anything, I'll just sleep or watch videos or go on Reddit or something, and then it comes to making videos, I'm just like, oh, blah. I mean, my intro gets me hyped up. Like, listen, hello guys, and welcome, it builds into it, and that kind of gets me set for the video ahead. I don't actually, aside from, like, I'll do in-game stuff. Like, I'll prep things in-game if I need to, but with my commentary, I just let it flow. I just find that on-the-spot commentary is my best way of doing it. I think that's what people enjoy. Well, it seems you guys are, because all of my videos pretty much are on-the-spot commentary, so that's great. But no, I do not have ADHD, and, no, I just thought that would be curious to, you know, bring up. I think a few people have said that I do have ADHD. I actually don't. Nothing wrong with having ADHD. I'm just saying I don't have it. So there you go. Thank you for your question, Press Koala, and thank you for staying around as a viewer. That is awesome. I love seeing people who have been there since almost the very beginning, and that's a lot of fun. And the very last question today, guys, is by, this is not his YouTube name. Well, actually it could be, but he says it was his Minecraft name in the email. CJHC12. Or CJHC12. However you want to interpret those numbers. Do you live on your own? He did submit 2 questions, but guys, don't submit 2 questions in an email, because to keep it fair to everyone else, I will only answer one of them, and I'll pick the one that I think is the most interesting, I guess. And I thought, you know, I've been asked this a few times, because I'm very loud in my videos. I don't live in a seemingly big place, so people always are curious, where do you live? Do you live on your own? What's this going on? So, technically, right now, I don't, but I'm in a very, very, very unique situation that allows me to almost have this as my own apartment. So, basically, my mum is in a relationship with another guy, and he's really nice. He's like a stepdad to me. He's a really, really cool guy. I couldn't be happier for her. And, when I was about 14 or 15, so you can tell how long term it's been now, because I'm 18 now. When I was about 14 or 15... she started going over to his place and, like, staying the night there and stuff like that. And, of course, that means that I've got the place to myself. Just because, firstly, I was starting to do all this kind of stuff, and it was very, very tricky to do when other people were in the house. And, plus, you know, it's always nice to get a break from your fucking annoying 14-year-old son. Not that I am. But, so, you know, it just kind of worked out for both of us. And it's not like we don't see each other. But, it ended up morphing into this routine that, as I've grown up, it worked so much better for both of us. So now we have like a weekly schedule of the days she will be in and the days she won't. And I live solely with my mum, so when she's out, it's basically my place. So on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and then the weekend, this place is mine. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, she's in. And then on the days of the week, except the weekend, she's out all weekend. On the days of the week, she'll be in during the day and then go out during the night. It's a very unique kind of thing. I'm actually I guess I'm kind of hesitant For some reason, something on XSplit is flashing. I'm hoping that's not actually showing up on recording. I guess I'm kind of hesitant in a weird way to kind of say this. Because it's a very, as I said, unique situation. And I'm sure that a lot of people won't understand that. Me and my mum, we've always been very kind of progressive, I guess. I'm not quite sure. I don't know how you'd say it, but we've always kind of catered to each other's needs and just said, okay, I don't care that you're 13 years old, 14 years old. In the end of the day, you are an individual. I see you as an adult, and if you think something's going to work, then that's cool. And we've always treated each other like that, and I think that's a great relationship that we have. So, we don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, she's treated me like, I guess, I should have been 18 when I was like 14, 15. And I think, actually, that kind of made me kind of get those sensibilities anyway, you know? Like, I feel like I'm totally prepared to live on my own. I could have been since I was like 16 years old without worry. I could have done everything. So, I'm really glad the way things worked out. I mean, it's made it possible so that I could do YouTube pretty much whenever I wanted, because I can't record when other people are in the house. I can do this whenever I wanted. My work hours are really, really flexible. I can do all of this stuff and still see my mum on like a daily basis, which is fantastic. As for living on my own in the future, yes, I should be living on my own later this year, actually. If you guys don't know, this is my last year of high school, and I cannot wait to be finished. And after this, I can't reveal too much, but I might be heading out to a certain place in America for 3 or so months after my exams to live out there with some people. That's still under debate, but we're still discussing what's going on with that. And if that carries on, it might be a more permanent thing. If not, I might be moving back over to the UK for about 5 or so months because my mum actually decided that, you know what? Now that you're, you know, living on your own and everything like that, or, well, we want you to be living on your own, why don't... But she's going to move in with her boyfriend, and I'm going to get this place, and she's just going to rent... I'm just going to pay rent to her. So I'll be renting this out as my full thing, and I will actually move my office into my mum's room so that I can do that, because I want to get green screens and everything set up in there. So I'm either doing that, and then after that, if I was to do that, if I did come back to the UK, after that, like, maybe this time next year, actually, yeah, that would be about right. I actually want to move out to America full-time and never come back, because if you guys don't know, I've always wanted to be out in America. It's just this thing, I spoke about it in episode 2, I believe. It's just this thing I've always needed to do in my life. It's not like, oh, I want to go to America. I feel like I kind of need to be there. Like, it just suits me. So, hopefully that's my plans. So, there you go. There's an interesting factoid about how I live, where I live, and what I do with my living quarters. I just said living quarters. That's very ye old Yoshi. Ye old Yoshi. I kind of like it. I'm so saying that channel is going to be taken before this video goes out. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Ask Yoshi. I hope you got a bunch of information about me, who I am, what I do, why I do it, and how I do it. And if you guys want to submit a question for episode 4, when hopefully all the graphics should be back, I'm sorry about that, guys, but I'm working on it. It's a problem that I have no idea why it's happening. And it doesn't happen with any of my other videos, so it's got to be something I'm doing different with these. I don't know. It's kind of weird. If you guys want to submit a question for episode 4, there are 2 ways you can do it. As I said at the start of the episode, all the information will be in the description, but if you missed it, I don't know how you could miss it, but if you did miss it, you can either submit it to me in a YouTube PM, in the YouTube comments below this video. I won't take any from episode 1 or 2 anymore. Or you can email me at my email address for this series, askyoshi@yoshitomario.com. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe if you did. The lighting has really drastically changed, I believe, since I started this episode, but that's okay. And until next time, guys, I will see you later. You know what I mean?
I see a waterfall.
Oh, let's go over there as well.
Oh, okay, you're next to me. Cool.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm following you closely.
Oh, awesome. I love it when you're behind me.